Hey everyone, welcome to another video. Today we are playing Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone if you're from the United States, or Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone if you're from the United Kingdom. Fun fact, they changed the title because they thought the Americans wouldn't know what a Philosopher's Stone is. This game consists of 61 achievements worth 470 points on the RetroAchievements website. This is a story about a young magical boy named Harry Potter, the boy who lived. In this game, we actually skip a huge part of the story already. We already traveled to Hogwarts and have been put into our house, Gryffindor. We meet this huge annoying dwarf that won't stop talking to us, named Albus Dum- Oh wait, this is Dumbledore? Jeez, the PS1 era didn't do you any good, my friend. He welcomes us to the school and tells us that there are secrets everywhere to discover. And he explicitly tells us that we need to stay away from the third floor corridor or else we'll suffer a most painful death. Well, thanks Dumbledore, that's exactly what an 11-year-old child wants to hear. As you can see, this is going to be a tough one. Harry is already wiping off his sweat and all he did was talk with Dumbledore. Now, one thing I remember from this game is that we have to check almost every wall and spam the X button, because that is the way to discover secret rooms. In the next room, we meet Fred and George. They know the password to some paintings that hold great treasure, but they want to be assholes about it and make us work for it. We need to bring them all the ERX beans that we can find here, and in exchange, they will give us the password. We take a peek in the Gryffindor common room, where Neville teaches us that we can use chocolate frogs to replenish our health. And as you can see in the bottom right corner, we already collected 2 out of 7 already by doing that for an achievement. Then we head over to talk to with who I think is Hermione, and she teaches us about a Wiggenweld potion. Same as with the frogs, but this one fully replenishes our HP to the max. There's not much more we can do here, so we head back to the hall. There we find our first secret room, behind the bookcase. And in that room, we collect our first famous witches and wizard cards and our first achievement called the second most famous wizard for collecting the Merlin Folio Magi card. We head back out and make our way to the Charms corridor. There we meet Ron. He actually looks pretty okay, unlike the other ones. He lets us know that Malfoy was running through that door with our owl Hedwig under his arm, and that we should take her back. And are you guys ready for the sickest burn in video game history? Here it comes.
Go home to your mother, Potter. Oh, sorry, you don't have one, do you?
In this room, the game teaches us how to climb and jump. We don't have a specific button for it, we just have to run near the edge and Harry will jump automatically, which might be one of the worst features in this game. But once you got the hang of it, it's not that bad actually. We make it across the other side and enter the door. There we meet nearly headless Nick, the Gryffindor house ghost. He tells us we should climb all the way to the top and that we can use the triangle button to look around for things in first person. But this is probably the only time we will use it. We also find our third chocolate frog. And who designed these rooms, by the way? You basically have to be a gymnast to get from one room to the other. What's wrong with stairs, Dumbledore? Or at least give these kids some flying lessons first. In the next room, we come across our first enemy, poisonous snails. Now, I don't remember this from the movies, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't nearly Headless Nick who taught us our first spell. He teaches us we can use Flipendo as a knockback spell to defeat our enemies. As you can see, when we defeat an enemy, we get house points for Gryffindor, which will be very important for an upcoming achievement, but more on that later. We also find our fourth chocolate frog, and we defeat another snail, giving us some more house points. The door opens for us, and we get to the next room. This is our first somewhat puzzle room, where we can cast Flipendo on these blocks in order to move them. Note that even if we can reach the upper path without the block being pushed all the way back, we still want to make sure I did, because as you can see, we get house points for doing so. We also defeat this rat to get some points, and we pick up our fifth chocolate frog. Then my stubborn self looked around way too long in this room, but I actually found something. We can Flipendo the spider web, giving us some more points, and we can jump on the platform to reach the window. Here we find another chocolate frog, setting our total to 6 out of 7. No, I'm not gonna say it. Entering the next room, we meet this mysterious hooded stranger that keeps an eye on us from a distance. You'll never guess who this is. We cast a few charged Flipendo spells at the giant block, putting it into its place and giving us some more house points. Then I saw something at the top, and we move it halfway back so we can jump on it. Here we destroy the spider web for some more points, and we pick up the last frog, giving us the frog frenzy at the lower castle achievement for collecting all 7 frogs at this place. We get into the next room and meet Neville again. Jesus, what is that? He tells us his box has been jinxed by Malfoy and that we have to get him down with Flipendo. There are 3 books, each giving us 5 more house points. After that we look for a secret lever, opening the bookcase behind us. There we find the room Malfoy keeps Hedwig in. With a charged Flipendo spell, we free her and we get the Your New Delivery Pet achievement for freeing Hedwig from her prison cage. We head out to the room where Hedwig rewards us with a gift, our very own broomstick. And you know what that means, it's time to learn how to fly on it. We have to follow Ron to Madame Hooch, but before we do that, don't make the same mistake I made and save the game first. Because else it's possible we come across a missable achievement, and unfortunately the closest saving point is at the Gryffindor common room, but it's better than having to restart the whole game for one achievement. We make our way to the flying pitch after saving, where you may or may not have heard of this impossible ring minigame. The way this minigame works is we have to fly through these rings in 3 separate difficulty levels in a certain amount of time. We will gain 5 house points for our performance, but when we fly through all the rings within the time limit, we will get 10 house points. So obviously we want to go for the maximum amounts. The first and the second one is pretty easy. It's the third one that most of us will spend multiple tries on. Also, in the second one, we can't forget grabbing that bean or it will be another achievement we will miss. Not only the difficulty increases, but also the amount of rings we have to fly through. First it was 9, on the second challenge it's 20, and on the last challenge we have to fly through 40. We had to try this one quite a few times, because it's really a lot harder than I make it look. But it's just a matter of practicing over and over again, and that's why it's so important to save before doing this, because once past this flying test we can never come back to it, whether we get the 5 or the 10 points. At this point we should be having 90 house points, which means we are still on track. We go back inside and we meet Hermione, and of course she immediately wants us to go to class. But before we do that, we pick up these beans laying around, as well as these ones on the bookcase, putting our total to 11 out of 55. In the next room, we have to jump from table to table, while also collecting all of the beans. And if that wasn't frustrating enough already, they also put a time limit on it. But it's actually not as hard as it looks. We now have 23 beans, and we meet Professor Flitwick. He brings us inside the classroom and starts the lesson. From him, we can learn the spell Wingardium Leviosa. We have to follow the pattern and press the align button when the white dot is on the button we need to press. Nothing difficult really, it's just a game of Simon Says. We complete the lesson, we learn the spell, and we get the it's pronounced Leviosa, not Leviosa achievement. Next, we will put the spell into practice, and we have to move this hourglass on the pedestal by using Wingardium Leviosa. In doing so, we get 5 more house points and we leave the classroom. We receive a letter from Hedwig, written by Hagrid, that he invites us to the cabin for a cup of tea and a chat. He has something important to tell us, so on our way we go. Before we do that, we check back at the flying pitch, where Madame Hooch has another challenge for us. Hagrid's moths has escaped and we have to retrieve all 10 of them. It's a lot easier than the rings minigame, and we actually got it first try, giving us 10 more house points for completing this minigame. Heading our way back to the main hall, we find this candle sitting on the ground. We can use Wingardium Leviosa on it to put it back on the desk, giving us 5 more house points as well. Next we head to the great foyer that was locked earlier, and in there we immediately find another secret room with some more earwax beans and another witches and wizards card in it, this time from Salazar Slytherin, giving us a name in English and parcel tongue achievement for it. When heading up the stairs to enter the next room, we find yet another secret room with the Neville minigame. Here we have to shoot a certain amount of pumpkins, chocolate frogs and cauldrons out of the air with our Flipendo spell. We actually got it first try as well, as the minigame is totally RNG based. We were waiting for a pumpkin, while there were only chocolate frogs appearing. But when we complete the minigame, Neville rewards us with another Witches and Wizard cards, giving us the Writing About Muggle Hersey achievement for collecting the Cornelius Agrippa Folio Magic card. We get back outside, and at the other platform of these stairs, we find 3 more beans as well. Then we enter the room next to the pumpkin shooting minigame, and we have to parkour our way through this section, while collecting some more beans and dodging jinxed armor trying to murder us. Then we go back and enter the other door at the stairs into the armory gallery. There we find 3 more beans, putting our total to 40, and where we can save the game again. Then we make our way back to the main entrance hall to go outside to get to Hagrid, but we get stopped by Malfoy, and he won't let us pass. So we Wingardium Leviosa these hourglasses back onto their place, giving us 10 more house points as well, putting our total to 120 out of 120. If you don't have them at this point, there is no more way to increase them, and I'm afraid you will have to restart the game or an earlier save file to collect the points you have forgotten. By putting the hourglasses on their place, somehow made the doors fly open and bump into Malfoy. He gets angry and challenges us to a duel, only it's not the duel that you might expect. Instead of waving our wands around, he throws firecrackers at us. They take a certain amount of time before they explode when they touch the ground, so we can just pick them up and throw them back at him. When we hit him a few times, he calls in reinforcements from Crab, which occasionally throws super firecrackers at us. These ones instantly explode when they touch the ground, so we have to dodge around the big ones while throwing the smaller ones back into Malfoy's face. And if that wasn't annoying enough already, he also calls for reinforcements a second time, but this time from Goyle. He will also throw super firecrackers at us. Our timing has to be really precise in order to hit him successfully and to dodge the other firecrackers laying on the ground. Oh, and by the way, in order to get the achievement, we have to do the fight without taking damage. When we deal the final damage, we defeat Malfoy and we get the British 4th of July celebration achievement for defeating the boss, and it's dangerous to play with Wizard Cracker's achievement for defeating him without taking a single hit. The fight ends and they run away. We head into the door and we also get the Starter Spark achievement for getting a total of 120 points for Gryffindor on the first House Point Hourglass recap. This was always one of my most favorite and stressful moments of the games, seeing if we were in first place for the House Cup. Such a good feeling if we actually were. We finally get out of the castle and we meet Hagrid. Just look at this magnificent beast. And so the PS1 Hagrid meme was born. He tells us we have to attend Herbology class with Professor Sprout. So we obey Hagrid like a good boy and we enter the greenhouse. There we move all the big pillars into this place while collecting 20 new house points already. Also make sure you pick up these 2 new flavored beans, as we cannot return to this point, and your previous save is probably before the Malfoy fight. Professor Sprout takes us into class so we can learn the Incendio spell. It's the same principle like learning the Wingardium Leviosa spell, but a little more difficult. When we complete all 3 sequences, we learn the spell and we get the, in my best English accent, Oi, we got a license for that one, bruv, achievement for it. How was that? Pretty good, right? Yeah, I thought so. Now we can use Incendio to destroy this bulb, but before we do that, I make sure we collect all 4 chocolate frogs in this room. Because like I said before, we will not be able to ever return to this room after this. When we burn down the bulb, we also get 5 more house points for Gryffindor. And then we leave the classroom. We get stopped by the student and tells us we should take some Quidditch training, but before we do that, we pick up this chocolate frog laying around, putting our total to 5 for this area already. And we head back into the castle, because there is some unfinished business we need to take care of first. First we head into the passageway towards the dungeon, where we find some more Earwax flavored beans. At the end of the hallway, we get stopped by Snape, and we are not allowed to go any further until his missing sloth brain has been recovered. We make our way back, and this time we go to the Great Dining Hall. On the tables we find the rest of our beans, giving us the not one toffee flavored bean inside achievement for collecting all the Earwax beans. Now we make our way back to Fred and George to tell them we collected all the beans. They give us a password for the portrait of the old posh baron. We make our way into the portrait room, we say Fizzy Pop to the painting and it opens. Now we can go inside and collect our reward, the one and only Nimbus 2000, which also gives us the Every Seeker's Favorite Broom achievement for it. Now there's nothing we can do anymore inside the castle for now, so we move back outside and do our first Quidditch training. The reason we went to get our Nimbus 2000 first is because this broom makes us much faster and gives us better control over it. Professor Hooch teaches us how to catch the golden snitch by flying through the rings, getting us closer to it. Here we want to make sure we do it as fast as possible, so we earn the gold wings, so we earn the 25 house points with our outstanding performance. Next up is 20 hoops, and we have to time our grab perfectly so the snitch stops in our hands, which gives us another gold wings and 25 house points. And for the last training, we have to do the same thing, but while racing to another seeker. We catch the snitch again, giving us yet another gold wings and the 25 house points, setting our total to 220 out of 250 already. The good part is that if we failed to get a gold wings, you can always come back to it whenever we want. We go through this corridor and we meet up with Fred and George again. Now we have to bring them blue every flavor beans in exchange for another password for a painting. We keep going and we find Raymond. His kitten has fallen down the well and he asked us to rescue it, but that's for later. We also drink this Wiggenweld potion laying around for our collection. In the next part, we meet this yellow squishy thingy called a puffskein that loves to eat these thorns. We have to guide him towards the thorn bushes so he nibbles it away. Every time he does, he will reveal a bean for us. In the meantime, we also pick up this chocolate frog on the side. When our friend is done munching around, we find another secret room behind this wall. There we have another minigame where we have to grab all the, and I quote, birdie bots beans while watching out for the bouncing bulbs, and if they bump us, we will lose some beans. Pretty easy minigame to be honest, we just make sure we don't get hit while we pick up the bing beans. When we pick up the last one in between the time limits, Nearly Headless Nick will reward us with a famous Witches and Wizard card. This time from Durban Chimpling, giving us the Wizarding World's Coyote Peterson achievements. We let the puffskein eat a bit more, collecting some more beans, and we head towards Hagrid's hut. He asks us to collect some fire seeds from a rare plant in the forest. We pick up another chocolate frog and be on our way to the next part of the forest, grabbing another chocolate frog along the way. We collect some more beans and use Flipendo on these enemies, also turning them into beans and giving us some more house points. We find another secret room that has another of these birdie beans minigame. It's the same thing like before, maybe a tiny bit harder in difficulty, but nothing too noticeable. When we finish the minigame, we get the famous Witches and Wizards card from Newt Scamander, giving us the Where's the Beast Newt achievement for it. We continue our way while picking up some more beans, and we meet the portrait, which needs the password from Fred and George. Nothing we can do here yet, so we go back and we take another path. There we find yet another secret room. No minigame inside this one, but a yummy chocolate frog and some more beans. It seems like that's it, but the good eye out there could actually spot this famous Witches and Wizards card hanging from the ceiling. When we Flipendo it, it falls down and we can pick it up, giving us the Take a Trip to Hogsmeade achievement for collecting the Hengist of Woodcroft Folio Magi card. After that, we enter the domain of the gargoyles. We see that the mysterious hooded figure casts a spell to make the statue attack us. Time for another boss fight. His attack pattern is always the same. He flies up in the air and tries to crash on us, dealing some damage. But we can just easily move towards the side and cast Flipendo on his behind. When we deal the final damage, we defeat the boss and we Wingardium Leviosa him back on his place, giving us the So Long as this gargoyle doesn't sing achievement, and the It's only a statue achievement for defeating the boss without taking a single hit. It also spits out 3 more beans for us, putting our total to 28 out of 84. When we enter the next part, we find another book where we can save the game, as well as another Wiggenweld potion, putting our total to 12 out of 17. And then we head back inside this cave, where we find 1 more bean, and where we find some more of these puffskeins. We lure one in so it gets stuck on this hole where air comes out. So the output hole on the other side gets stronger and we can ride it to a higher platform. We grab some more beans on this tree trunk and keep going. Then we collect some more floating in the air. Then we force feed this puffskein so he is fat enough he will block this hole so we can use the air vent again to get on the upper level. We break open this candy box filled with beans, and on the other side we also find some beans and a lever, removing the lock from the door. There the field is suddenly filled with lava. Who knew Hogwarts was built on an active volcano? We make our way through the platform section where we find some beans along the way, as well as another Wiggenweld potion. At the end of the path, we can use the Incendio spell in this burning bush to open it up, and then we collect the fire seeds. We go all the way back to Hagrid to give him the fire seeds. Hagrid invites us inside his home, and we get the How to Hatch Your Dragon achievement for it. We use the fire seeds to make Hagrid's dragon hatch, and we receive a book from him. Then we head back out, and we can see the gate that was closed earlier is now open. We pick up a bean and find another secret room, where we find yet some more beans, putting our total to 61 out of 84. When we head back out, we meet Ron, and he wants us to follow him because there's something he wants to show us. But first we enter another secret room, where we have to play the last minigame with the Bertie Bott's beans. Like the previous ones, it's not that hard at all. We make quick work of this minigame, and we receive the famous Witches and Wizard card from Morgan Le Fay, giving us the Keep Her Away from My Scabbards achievement. Then we catch up with Ron, and he shows us the Quidditch pitch. At that moment, Neville asks us for help because Malfoy stole his Remembrall. Now we have another boss battle, and this one was not so easy, especially to do it damageless. As you can see, we have to chase Malfoy on our broom, and at the same time fly close enough to him so we can bash into him and deal damage. But we have to be careful we don't bash into him when he just releases a bludger, because it will hit us instantly. We also have to make sure we don't defeat him too fast, and that we actually complete a full round around the map. Why, you may ask? Because there are 2 hidden chocolate frogs we need to collect in order to get an achievement, and if we don't do it now, we can never come back to this point. This was a really frustrating part, because they are hidden away from the path. I don't even know who would pick these up if you're going through the game without retro achievements. After we picked up the first one, and the other one near this water, setting our total to 16 out of 17. So now that we have collected these frogs, we can focus on the boss. Like I said, we occasionally try to hit him while dodging his bludgers instantly. When we deal the final damage to him, we destroy his broomstick and he gives us the Remembrall back. We also get the Broom on Broom violence for defeating the boss and the Not a Scratch on That Broom achievement for defeating the boss without getting hit. We give the Remembrall back to Neville, and Professor McGonagall watched our performance, and she wants us to play as a seeker for the Gryffindor Quidditch team. And our first match is already going to start against Hufflepuff. We raise their seeker to get our hands on the golden snitch first. We have to fly through the rings to increase our speed, and at the end we can catch the golden snitch, winning the game and completing our first Quidditch match, while also giving us a Quidditch season opener achievement for it. Outside, we meet Professor Snape, and he confiscates the book Hagrid gave us. But a piece of a map falls out of the book and reveals a hidden area. Ron uses Alohomora on this rusty door, and we go inside. In there we find another Wiggenweld potion, and when we drink it, we get the Wiggenweld Wanderer achievement for collecting all the chocolate frogs and drinking all the Wiggenweld potions at the castle grounds. We pick up a bean along the way, and we meet this weird tentacle monster. When we defeat its minions, we can focus on him and incendio him to defeat it. When we do, we get some more beans and 5 more house points. We use this lever and we can see it unlocks a door somewhere, so we go look for it. But it was actually around the corner. Entering the door, we come across hocker lumps, or how I want to call them, these weird mushrooms. We can use Wingardium Leviosa on them to pull them out of the ground. When we do, they will spit out some beans, and we have to be fast to pick them up, because the mushrooms will try to pick them back up again. When we checked under every mushroom, we can see we have all the blue beans we need, giving us the I Feel Funny achievement for collecting them all. But that's not all. For completing the small puzzle, we also get the final house points for this quarter, putting our total to 250 out of 250. We get around the corner, and there we find the slot brain from Professor Snape that was missing. When we pick it up, we head back to Ron, and we make our way back to the castle, giving us the Halfway to Glory achievement for getting a total of 250 points for Gryffindor on the second house point Hourglass recap. There we can see we are still in the leads. Awesome. Now before we go back to Professor Snape, we will go back to Fred and George to give them the blue beans, and they give us the password for the second painting, Catweasel. We find our way to the painting and we use the password. The painting opens and inside we find another famous Witches and Wizard card, this time from Albus Dumbledore. It gives us the Nitwit Blubber Oddment Tweak achievement for it. Then we head back to the dungeons and we meet with Professor Snape. We head through the dungeons trying to look for the potions class and we meet up with Fred and George again. Now we have to find green every flavor beans to get this portrait's password. We dive even deeper inside of the dungeon and we finally find potion class. We get the rated B for brains achievement for bringing the slot brain back to Professor Snape. He teaches us how to make a Wiggenweld potion. It's just your basic rhythm game, pretty easy. After that, he asks us to collect a jar of fireflies from the adjoining room. But there we see this hooded figure again and he breaks the floor. Watching the color of the spell, it could be that he casted Avada Kedavra on us, but just missed? I don't know. The spell breaks the floor open and we fell down into it. There we meet a new enemy. These trolls are just cycling around, and when we throw this egg-shaped thing on them, they sneeze so hard they jump in the air from it. So what do? We just wait until they are on top of the sewer drain, we throw the egg and they fall through it from the force of their sneeze. We get 1 bean for defeating them, as well as 5 house points. We do the same thing with the other troll, receiving the same rewards and opening the door. But before we leave, we will also pick up this frog near the ray of light for our collection. Remember Raymond, the guy who lost his kitten? Luckily for him, we fell down in the dungeons right about where his kitten fell through the well. We take the path on the left, where we find these boxes that can sometimes contain a rat, and when we defeat them, we won't get any house points, nor will the beans count towards our collection total, because these rats are completely RNG, so it's possible you will get less or more rats depending on the RNG, making these achievements unfair. In the last box we look, we find the Raymond's cat, typically. We got it all the way back to the well, and we win Guardium Leviosa back into Raymond's hands. As a reward, he gives us the famous Witches and Wizard card from Edgar Struger, and we get the Wizard's own personal alarm achievement for it. In the next room, we pick up some beans on these floating platforms, and we activate this lever, giving us some house points and opening this door towards a cauldron room. Here we have to cast Flipendo on the cauldrons in order to make them stop moving, and then we can cross this slimy green river without falling into it. On the other side, we find 2 more chocolate frogs and another lever. When we pull it, another platform appears in the previous room and the door to the sleeping troll opens. We also get 5 house points for pulling the lever. We won't cross the slimy river on the cauldrons again, but just use this hidden side path, giving us some more beans at the same time, putting our total to 13 out of 88. We head back to the previous room, where we can enter the troll's bedroom. We silently sneak around, so we can pick up some beans on this table and another chocolate frog. Then we Wingardium Leviosa this cage onto the hay that's lying on the floor to muffle the sounds of dropping the cage. Then we pick up the key that was laying under the cage, and we can also pull the lever, giving us 5 more house points and making another floating platform appear in the previous room. We climb the platforms and use the troll key to open the door to the firefly room. There we grab this chocolate frog, and we can use this egg-shaped thingies again to make the small trolls fall down the sewer, giving us a bean and 5 house points each for every troll. The lock jumps from the door, and we can go to the next room. There in the middle of the room, we find a jar of fireflies. When we go through the next door, we appear magically in class again, and we get the now turn to page 394 achievement for it. Snape tells us that potion class is over, and that we should go to our defense against the dark arts class now. So that's what we do. We get another timed event, while in the meantime there are some more beans we'll have to pick up, because we can never come back here. We have to jump on these books at the right time, because sometimes they will make themselves smaller, so we will fall onto the floor. There's also a little secret on the left side that contains some more beans. In the next room we have the same thing, but don't forget to grab these beans lying on the floor in the corners. We climb back upwards and we see Professor Quirrell. We have to do another spell learning minigame for the Verdimillious spell. After we successfully complete it, we get the "This spell takes 20 deep batteries to use" achievement for learning the Verdimillious spell in defense against the dark arts. Now, I don't know if this is actually true, but it seems like Harry is touching his scar when he stands too close to Professor Quirrell. If it is, it would be a cool detail, cause, you know, he has Voldemort on the back of his head. We head towards the darkness, casting the Verdimillious spell to lighten up the path, and then we can get across and we gain 5 house points for it. Outside of the room, we meet up with Hermione and she tells us we have to go to the forbidden 3rd floor Dumbledore warned us about. But first we will go into the room we couldn't do anything in yet, but now that we have the Verdimillious spell, we can. We use the spell and climb on these platforms. There we collect some more beans, and on this ledge we find some more beans wrapped in a candy package, and a door. When we go through the door, we meet up with Nearly Headless Nick. Within the time limit, we have to use Flipendo to push the cauldrons under the heated grills. Nothing too difficult about it really. When we complete it, we get the Witches and Wizard cards from Bowman Wright, giving us the famous for his Golden Balls achievement for it. We return to the main path and climb these rocks. There we find another bookcase with a secret minigame behind it. It's the exact same minigame as before, just with some more cauldrons. We easily beat this minigame as well, and we get yet another card. This time it's for Cassandra Vabletsky, while also getting the Future is Now Old Woman achievement for it. We get back to the main path, where we go through this door and use these air vents to get all the way to the top. Here we find the 3rd and final bookcase that contains a secret for this area. It's yet again the same kind of puzzle, which we can beat really easily, giving us the famous Witches and Wizard cards from Godric Gryffindor, as well as the Godric, the bravest man in the world achievement for it. In the next room, we have the section I hated the most as a kid, because it felt like a real maze. Someone has been casting a curse on the exit door, so we can't go through it. We have to find 4 different eyeballs and destroy them in order to lift the curse and unlock the door. So we get on our way and look for them. In the next room, we can use our lessons from Professor Snape to create a Wiggenweld potion in the cauldron, which we can also drink up to add to our collection for the achievements. Then we collect these 2 beans laying around and we head into the door. Next up, we meet with Peeves, Hogwarts' annoying poltergeist. He throws this magnificent rhyme at us.
Young Potter, you're ugly, but what can we do? Everyone says you belong in a zoo. If you look in a mirror, it surely will crack. The best thing to do is wear a nice sack.
And he disappears. After that we pick up these beans on the bookcase, then we use the banister to jump higher on these cauldrons, and we move towards the door, while also picking up these beans. In the next room, we jump from table to table, while picking up this bean laying around. We also meet a new enemy, an enchanted knight. We have to hit twice in order to defeat it. When we do, we get 5 more house points, and we run around the room collecting some more green beans. We go through this door, destroying another enchanted knight for 5 more points, and a ton more beans. We keep going the same path, where we get 2 more beans, putting our total to 69. Nice. And we also find the red eyeball curse. We can easily destroy it with Flipendo, and we get 5 house points for it. And we can see it also disappears on the exit door. We make our way to find the other eyeballs, while we come across another enchanted knight, giving us 5 more house points for defeating him. We move across this ledge so we can enter what I like to call the Rivet Room, because it gives us a whopping 5 more chocolate frogs. And we also destroy the blue eyeball, giving us 5 more house points. And we see another eyeball getting removed from the exit door. We get out of the room and we jump all the way down. I didn't expect this game would have any fall damage, but it was just a tiny bit. Here we find another enchanted knight we can defeat for 5 house points, and 5 more beans inside this candy box. Around the corner right before we climb up these rocks, we can find a chocolate frog to replenish our health, but more important, to add to our collection. We then make our way back to the Flying Cauldron room, where we can enter this door above the stairs. From there on out we jump on this ledge and go inside of this door. There we destroy the 3rd eyeball, while also getting 5 more house points. We follow this path downwards, where we can pick up some more beans, and where we can use Flipendo on this platform to push it towards the wall, where we also get 5 more house points for it. Next we have a slippery floor, where we have to dodge these turtles that shoot flames from out of their arses. And around this corner we can find 2 more chocolate frogs. Then we make our way back, because there is a door we skipped earlier, and when we go inside we can find a bean and a chocolate frog on this bookcase. When we pick it up, we get the Dungeon Dweller achievement for collecting all the chocolate frogs and drinking all the Wiggenweld potions at the dungeons. Then we head back past the slippery floor and enter this door, and we find another slippery floor with as flame shooting turtles. And just around the corner, we find our final eyeball, which we can destroy for 5 more house points. And also removing it from the exit door. Now we can make it out of this dungeon, because all curses has been lifted. We head back to the exit door and talk to Nearly Headless Nick. He tells us we have been down here so long our transfiguration class is about to start. So we exit the door and find 2 more candy bean boxes. We open them up and we get a total of 88 out of 88 beans, giving us the, to some, this is a delicacy achievement for collecting all the troll bogey beans. We make our way back to Fred and George to trade in the beans for the password, and we make our way to the painting. We use the word Wengelwort, whatever that is, and the painting opens. In there, we find the Quidditch armor that will give us extra protection against bludgers while playing Quidditch. And we also get the Better Than Your Rope achievement for it. Then we exit out of the dungeon and make our way back to the castle hall. There we see this door opening for Hermione and we follow her to the upper castle. There we meet Fred and George again for another collection, but this time for red chili powder beans. Then we head into this door to start our next class. Here we have to do some parkour again while grabbing the beans on the table. We do the same thing in the next room and we meet up with Professor McGonagall while already having 8 beans. We complete another 3 sequences of this minigame and we learn the spell Aviforce, while also getting the I'm sure this will be helpful in the Muggle World achievements. We transfigure the bird statue on the table into a real bird, so it flies away and the table can float into the air. In doing so, we also get our final 5 house points for this chapter. We climb the table and exit the class, giving us the Gryffindor's Roar achievement for getting a total of 345 points for Gryffindor on the 3rd house point Hourglass recap. We have been getting max points every time, but still Slytherin is in the lead of us right now. Very strange. We get back into the previous hallway, where we also use Aviforce on the statue, so the bird can fly away and the table can float into the air, bringing us to the upper level. There we find our first chocolate frog from this chapter's collection. Then we head through the door on the other side, and Hedwig brings us another parcel. But Peeves is quicker than we are and steals it away right in front of our nose. But before we chase Peeves, we get into a secret room behind this bookcase. In this minigame, we have to follow this kitten that drops purple beans. We just have to make sure we don't spend too much time on the same block, because they will fall down eventually. There is nothing difficult about this really, so when we collect 10 purple beans, we go back to Nick and he gives us another famous Witches and Wizard card for it. This time from Roderick Plumpton. That gives us the David Beckham of Quidditch achievement for it. In the next room, we can find where the portrait is already. So it's good to know for later when we have all the beans and the password. We get back out of the room and use Aviforce on the statue, so it's, well, you know the drill by now. We get into this hallway and we meet with Peeves to start the race. The good part is that we can collect some more beans and chocolate frogs in the meantime, but the dumb part is that he covered the floor in slippery flobber mucus, so it will be a pain to collect them all in the first try. But it was actually surprisingly easy. I'm not going to show all the collectibles here, because they are really easy to spot and pretty straightforward to collect them. Matter of fact, you would have to do your best not to collect them. In the first part of the race, we collect a total of 22 beans and 6 chocolate frogs for our collection. Then we head through this hallway to start the second part. 11 beans and some platforming further, we come across the spider web we can destroy, giving us 5 more house points. After that we collect another 12 beans and 2 frogs later we end the race in first place and he gives us our parcel back. And inside we find our invisibility cloak. What a coincidence, because our next room will be a sneak section. Here we meet Filch and Mrs. Norris and he tells us this section is off limits. But as I said earlier, luckily we just received our invisibility cloak. The way this works is we have to collect a cloak token in order to activate it, and then we are invisible for a brief moment, so we have to be quick. We pick up the key on the bookcase and we open the door with it. In the next room, we eavesdrop on Professor Snape and Filch, and Snape is really making himself suspicious here to say that he doesn't want anyone to interfere with his plans. We take the same secret passage as him and we collect another token, so we can be invisible, picking up the key while sneaking past Filch and Mrs. Norris, opening the door. Then we have to do this 2 more times until we finally get into the storeroom. There we find Dumbledore's mirror, just like in the movies, where Harry sees his parents. But here, he just takes a quick peek at himself, giving us the "what is your deepest desire" achievement. When we get back out of the room, we see Ron, and he tells us a huge troll is rampaging through the castle and it's heading towards a girl's bathroom, where Hermione is at this exact moment. When we go through the gap in the wall, we find 2 more chocolate frogs, one on each side at the top, and while we're going towards a book to save, we find 2 more, putting our total to 14. Also, when I paused my game to see all my collectibles, I checked the icon for having the invisibility cloak. Now, is it just me or does this image look like Frodo Baggins from The Lord of the Rings? Let me know in the comments. Now it's time to head through the gap, and we reach one of the hardest parts in the game, the troll chase. Yeah, great plan, Ron. Let me just distract it real quick. This is an auto-scroll level where we have to run towards the screen while picking up every bean and chocolate frog along the way. These kind of levels were really popular on the PS1 era. It's actually a pretty easy part, but collecting everything while doing so is what makes it difficult. If I miss anything, I will let myself die so I can restart and try again. And we better collect everything now, because we can never come back to this part of the game. The troll will also bump into these torches and they get flung all the way to the front, where if we are not careful enough, they can hit and damage us, also slowing us a bit down. Also, where the hell is Ron? He just speeds off like it's nothing and we don't see him again until we are in the bathroom. While I'll let you enjoy this chase part, this might be a good time to say, if you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. It's only one click for you, but it means so much to me. Also, let me know in the comments which your best or worst experience were with this game. After a good 20 minutes of trying over and over again, we finally end the level. We collected 49 beans throughout this section, putting our total to 102. And we also collect 8 more chocolate frogs, giving us the Frogs on the High Towers achievement for it. We find Hermione unharmed and well, but the troll bashes into the bathroom. Now we have to destroy the toilet seats, the toilets themselves, and the pipes that are getting thrown towards us. I thought I was doing well, but suddenly he also throws something on Ron's face. So I had to start over again, because we also need to do this boss fight damageless, like the rest of them. But honestly, it was worth it. Here's the clip again. Take that, Ron. We can see slowly but surely Ron bringing the troll's club to his head between Wingardium Leviosa. And when he hits him, we defeat the boss, giving us the Taught You Oughta Know achievement and the Crackshot Wizard achievement for defeating the boss without me or Ron getting hit a single time. We also get 25 more house points for doing so. We get out of the bathroom like nothing happens, not even telling a professor about it. But when we head back outside, Hedwig brings us another letter from Professor McGonagall that the second Quidditch match of the year is about to start against Ravenclaw. So we head back to the Quidditch pitch, greet our friends and Hagrid. But it seems like he was spilling too much beans. Get it? Because we have to collect beans. Yeah, never mind. Because he's telling us about Fluffy guarding something on the 3rd floor, and that it's a secret between Hagrid, Dumbledore, and Nicholas Flamel, raising the suspicion of Hermione. Up next, we have to play our next match against Ravenclaw, but there is nothing special about it. I don't see it being any more difficult than the match before that. The only difference we can see is that we now wear armor that can take up to 4 hits. That armor came from our 3rd collection in the dungeons, if you remember. We catch the golden snitch and we end the match, giving us the Harry Potter 64 achievement for winning the Quidditch game against Ravenclaw. After that we get back to Hagrid and he tells us that his pet dragon Norbert isn't feeling too well and that we need to make him some special dragon tonic to pep him up again. But unfortunately the ingredients can't be found into the castle, so we have to go to Diagon Alley to buy them. So off we go. We need 3 peacock feathers, 1 owl feather and 3 giant purple toad warts. But we can't buy anything without money, so we have to go to Gringotts Bank first to get some knuts, sickles and galleons. And while we do that, Hagrid is just gonna drink in the bar. Yeah, very helpful. When we get inside of the bank, we are immediately greeted by a goblin that tells us how we can collect the money we needed. We have to collect the paperwork laying around and hand them to the goblin in front of each specific vault. Easy, you might think. Well, it would be if it wasn't for this extremely slippery, over-polished, waxed floor that makes us slide everywhere. For the first vault, we have to collect 10 paperworks. Alright, I'll admit it, I remember this being a lot harder as a kid. When we collect all 10 of them, we hand it over and we can collect some Gringotts. Inside of this vault, we get an explanation how to control the minecart. This section is easily one of, if not the hardest parts of the entire game, especially with retro achievements. We have to fill up our coin meter 3 times by collecting as much coins as we can. Luckily, on the left middle side, we get an indicator of when and where the coins will spawn. But that's not the hard part. We also have to collect the famous witches and wizards cards. And how do we do that, you may ask? Oh, you think it's just hidden in this map and that we have to grab it? No, 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 no. As you can see in the bottom right corner, we can also collect gems. And the only way to do that is to collect every single coin the game throws at us in that specific section. Let me give you an example. We first get an indicator that there will be coins and gems and that it will be in a rotating movement. After we collect all these coins, gems will appear in the same movement. So if we miss one coin in order to spawn the gems, they will not appear and we have to reset. If we made the gems spawn, but we miss any of them, it's also reset, because in order to get the card, we need all 65 gems. Luckily, the next gem parts are a bit easier, as they just appear in a straight line. We also have to be careful of the red exclamation marks, because that means an obstacle will appear. And if we hit it, we will lose some of our coins. But honestly, there are enough coins on the map to refill our money tray. The only thing you should be focusing on are the gems. There are only 2 loopings here, and if you can complete these consistently, the rest should be a piece of cake, because they are just straight lines and you can hold the X button in order to keep the minecart still. When we near the exit with 3 Gringotts and 65 gems in our pockets, we get the famous witches and wizard cards for Ignatia Wildsmith, and it gives us the better transit than London's achievement for it. As you might remember if you played this game before, there will be 2 more minecart sections to complete. Do they both have their own witches and wizard cards achievements? Yes. Are they equally difficult or more difficult than the first one? Also yes. And did we almost rage quit on this part and never want to do this again? Triple yes. So we have to do the exact same thing another 2 times, but the placement of the coins and gems will be a little bit different. So we first collect the paperwork in order to get access to the vault, and then we can start learning the pattern over and over again. Luckily, there is the magic of editing and you won't have to suffer through it like I did. When we complete the second vault and collect all the sickles and gems, we get the famous witches and wizard cards for Bertie Bott, giving us the A Risk with Every Mouthful achievement. And for the third vault, we collect all the galleons and gems, and that gives us the card for Helga Hufflepuff, as well as the Hope She Doesn't Use Old Betsy on You achievement. Now that we have all this money in our pockets, we can go back outside and start our shopping. First we head to the magical menagerie. For the cost of 1 galleon, we will be able to get 3 giant purple toad warts. So imagine having to work for your money and having to work in order to get the products you want to buy. Maybe the muggle world isn't so bad after all. In this minigame, we have to find the toad under the boxes. We can just randomly destroy boxes or the store owner will kick us out for destroying her shop. So we have to wait until we see a box move. Then we destroy the box with Flipendo and we can Flipendo the toad to get 1 worth. When we do this 3 times, we get all the ingredients we need in the shop. Our next stop is Ollivander's wand shop. For 3 Gringotts, we are allowed to grab 1 peacock feather from his yard. Here we have to sneak up on the peacock with his invisibility cloak we found in one of his boxes. We put on the cloak and we have to stay on the peacock for a certain amount of time. You can see in the top left corner. When the meter is full, we get 1 feather. But honestly, you don't need a cloak for this. We have to do this a total of 3 times to collect our feathers. Next up is Elop's Owl Emporium, where we have to purchase an eagle owl's feather for 2 silver sickles. We have to win Guardian Leviosa him some treats until he falls asleep. We also have to make sure the other owls don't steal them. When he's asleep, a feather falls off of him and we can collect it. And that is our little adventure in Diagon Alley done. Outside we meet up with Hagrid and we head back to Hagrid's hut. There we get the a spoonful of ashes to help the medicine go down achievement for giving Hagrid all the ingredients to cure Norbert. Norbert is now old enough to be released back into the wilds, so they take him back to Romania on their flying brooms. But Malfoy went to snitch on us to Professor McGonagall, and as a punishment, we have to enter the Forbidden Forest and look for the wounded unicorn. Oh yes, Hagrid, let's split up in this forest I have never been into before. That's a great idea. Oh, and it might be a dangerous place as well. Well, that's great to hear. I'm sure an 11-year-old kid is prepared for the dangers of this forest. Anyway, in order to find the wounded unicorn, we have to follow the silver blood that shines in the moonlight. Before we do anything, we use Flipendo on these 2 fake walls so they fall down. Inside we find 2 more beans and a chocolate frog for our collection. Then we use Incendio to burn this bush to move on, and after that we can use Flipendo to knock down this tree to find a bean on the other side of it. Then we head through the trees to defeat these 2 trolls with their own sneezes to get 10 extra house points and 5 more beans, 2 from the troll and 3 lying around. Next we head up this bridge that's full of branches, but a good placed Incendio spell takes care of all of them. We get 3 more beans and 1 chocolate frog, but weirdly enough, this one doesn't count for our collection. In the next part, we have to fight one of these weird flowers and Incendio it to a crisp, giving us 5 more house points and 4 more beans. In the next section, we grab these 4 more beans at the cauldron and we start mixing a Wiggenweld potion. When we drink it up, we add it to our collection, putting our total to 2 out of 8. We keep following the silver bloods and we come across a giant turtle. He shoots fireballs at us from his ass, and we have to hit him 3 times in the same hole he shoots fire from in order to defeat him. When we do, he will shoot 1 final fireball on the big tree, burning a hole into it, and a new path appears. When we go through it, we get to the next section in the forest. We burn through the branches and take the straight path, finding 3 more chocolate frogs for our collection. Then we have another fight against a giant turtle, and it burns a hole in another tree. Then we pick up another chocolate frog and meet up with Hagrid. He tells us that we need to be extra careful and that he doesn't know what's killing these unicorns, so we keep following the silver blood trail. Then at this tree stump, we take this somewhat secret room on the right side, and there we fight yet another giant turtle, so he burns the hole in the tree, and when we go through it, we find our final 2 chocolate frogs, giving us the Forest Forager achievement for collecting all the chocolate frogs and drinking all the Wiggenweld potions at the forest. In the next room, we also find the 4 final beans, giving us the Sean Evans awaits your reply achievement. If we look up in the air, we also see a famous witches and wizard cards we can shoot down with Flipendo, giving us the Koth the Ravenclaw Nevermore achievement for collecting the card from Rowena Ravenclaw. Then we head all the way back to the tree stump and we can burn down the thorns with Incendio to clear the path. When we get on top of the platform, we go through the hole in the wall and we get the Splitting Headache achievement for finding the wounded unicorn in the Forbidden Forest. Here we can see the hooded figure that has been pestering us this whole school year. We look him straight in the eyes and Harry dramatically faints. Like, what the hell was even that, Harry? We were rescued right in time by the centaur Firenze and he brought us back to Hagrid's hut. There we talk about he who must not be named and Hagrid gives us a gift, a magical flute we can use to put some creatures to sleep. We have a little tutorial on how to use it on this barn owl and we head back outside. And she has been doing some research about Nicholas Flamel. She tells us he is the creator of the Sorcerer's Stone and she thinks that Snape and you know who is involved and that we have to find a way to get past Fluffy on the 3rd floor. But before we do that, there are some more things we need to take care of first. First of all, we head back to Fred and George in the upper castle to bring them the red chili beans, and they give us the password in exchange, Wolfsbane. Then we head back to the portrait room, we use the password, and we collect this magical ball. That gives us the Hollow Point Magic Spells achievement for it. And we now have an upgrade to our Flipendo spell. Then we make our way to the 3rd floor together with Ron and Hermione, and when we enter the door, we get the Straight A+ student achievement for getting a total of 390 points for Gryffindor before reaching Fluffy. We watch the counting for the House Cup again, and it seems like even though we collected every point we can, Slytherin is still in the lead. After that we get back to our protagonist and we meet Fluffy. We have to put each one of their heads to sleep by using Hagrid's magical flutes. That sounded a bit wrong. When we put all 3 of his heads to sleep, we reveal a hidden ledge under his paw we can crawl into. There we have to fight a devil snare plant. And our Flipendo spell is so much stronger now, it charges up way faster. In this boss fight, we have several tentacles coming out of the ground. You can see that there is only one at a time that lights up. So that's the one we have to defeat every time in order. When we do that, we have one final giant tentacle coming out of the middle, and we just have to damage him a few times while dodging his slam attacks occasionally. After that, we burn him to a crisp with Incendio. Then we head through the door, and we get to the next challenge. We have to put our Quidditch skills to the test again, until the bar on the bottom is completely filled. Every time we fly through a ring, we get closer and closer to it. When the bar is full, we can grab the key like we do with the golden snitch. We enter the locked door, and we grab a chocolate frog. Then we head through the obvious secret room, where we collect 2 more frogs, and we can save the game. Then we head through the next door, where we have to play some wizard chess. The way this works is every time we move, the chess pieces move towards us. We have to make sure the chess pieces destroy each other in order to move to the next room. We have to do this a total of 3 times each one having their own way of completing it. After that, we find another secret room where we find 3 more chocolate frogs. Back on the main path, we find another one on the side, and we head into the door. There we find the sleepwalking troll. While Hermione is finding the correct spell to open the door, I'm pretty sure it's just Alahomora, but we have to deal with the troll, putting aside all the objects so the troll doesn't trip over them and wake up. We move aside the chairs, buckets, and much more stuff until we guide him into the trapdoor, and he falls down into it. Right at that time, Hermione is finished casting the spell. Behind the trapdoor, we find another chocolate frog. In the next room, we have to play a small game of 3 cups and a ball. We pick the correct cup and defeat the knight that was under it. When we hit him 3 times, he will drop an ice potion for us. Then we drink up the ice potion and we can walk through the flames into the next door. In this hallway, we pick up 2 more chocolate frogs to add to our collection. And in the next room, we find the hooded figure again, and he finally talks to us. He casts a spell to revive these knight statues we can easily defeat with our upgraded Flipendo spell. Close to the gap of the cliff, we can also find another chocolate frog. After we defeat 4 enchanted knights, he will cast another spell and conjure a giant knight. This counts as another boss fight, and we obviously have to do it damageless. He can use his sword to attack us straight forward. But we have to be careful, because his sword attack also has an area of effect. The big red circle on the ground will also do damage to us. After he did his attack, we can charge up our Flipendo spell, and then it's our turn to damage him. After we hit him 3 times, we have to be careful, because he will do 2 attacks in a row, and his last attack will have 3 attacks in a row. Then we deal the final damage to the knights, and we defeat the boss, giving us a It's Just a Flesh Wound achievement. The wand is mightier than the sword achievement for defeating the boss without getting hit. Some rocks from the ceiling make a bridge for us we can use to get to the other side. There we find the last Wiggenweld potion we need, giving us the Forbidden Collector achievement for collecting all the chocolate frogs and drinking all the Wiggenweld potions at the Forbidden Corridor. And now it's time for the final boss fight of the game, Voldemort himself. We can see ourselves pick up the Sorcerer's Stone and put it in our pockets. Then Quirrell talks to us, and holy crap, what is that? That thing is absolutely terrifying. We have to defeat it as fast as possible, because I don't want to see that ever again. The way to defeat him is actually pretty simple. We have to guide Voldemort until he stands in front of a pillar. Then we can cast Flipendo on it in order to make it fall down on him, doing a tiny bit of damage. It is another boss fight, so of course we'll have to defeat him without getting damaged. For now he has 2 different attacks, one where we have to dodge his green magic, or we can restart the whole section. Yes, even the boss fight before this one, because we weren't able to save after it. After he did his green spell attack, he will yell, "Die, Potter," and then we know he will cast another spell to entangle us in his green ropes. We have to press square rapidly in order to break free, or else we are a sitting duck to his next spell. And we really don't want to get hit by that to restart everything from the previous room, so we are being extra careful here. When he's about halfway defeated, he gets into his second phase. All the pillars are gone, and he has a new way of attacking. It depends on where we are placed, but he will attack us left from the mirror, then right from the mirror, and then left again. And after that, he will have a charge-up attack that shoots at us at a fast pace. But if our timing is right, we can easily dodge it. Then when Voldemort is in front of the mirror, we first have to charge it with our Flipendo spell, and then we have to shoot it again so our Flipendo gets enhanced, and does damage to Voldemort. We have to do this a total of 3 more times before he gets into his last phase. When we do the last attack on him for his second phase, we get the "This is the Dark Lord everyone's afraid of" achievement for defeating Voldemort without taking damage before his third phase. In his third phase, we have to mash the square button in order to gain energy from the Sorcerer's Stone, because you can see our HP rapidly go down. When it's filled to the max, we can press the X button after a while to hurt Voldemort and Quirrell. After we did this 4 times, we defeat Quirrell and Voldemort, and now it's their time to have a dramatic scene. That gives us the "He Who Must Not Be Named's Demise" achievement. We get one more cutscene where Dumbledore is sitting next to us on the hospital bed, telling us the Sorcerer's Stone has been destroyed, and he assured us Voldemort will never get his powers back. Sure. Then Ron gets into our room and hands us our final famous and wizard cards, no one less than Harry Potter himself. Ron also reminds Harry we have to play one more Quidditch match against Slytherin for the Championship Cup. This is just the same like all the other Quidditch matches, so I will just skip forward until we catch the Golden Snitch, giving us the no jinxed brooms this time for winning the Gryffindor vs Slytherin match during adventure modes. Then we head back into the Great Hall for the announcement for the House Cup. Dumbledore tells everyone that the House Cup will be awarded to the house with the most points, and at that moment that would be Slytherin. But he awards us 60 more points for our pure nerve and outstanding courage. Those additional points has won Gryffindor the House Cup, and Harry called it the best day of his life. And that is the end of our amazing adventure of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Now there is one more achievement we have to do. We go back to the menu and look at our beautiful 100% save file, and as you can see, it took me about 12 hours. Instead of playing the game, we're going to play some more Quidditch. We have to win 2 more matches against every house, so that's 6 more matches. I'm not going to show you all of it, because it will be too boring and it would be the same thing anyway, but I really want to say thank you so much for watching. I really loved replaying this amazing game, especially with RetroAchievements. I know it was a long video, but I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did playing it. I want to thank the RetroAchievements community for making this possible, and especially to Elfax and XLRZX for creating the sets. And of course also to these people that did the game badge artwork, the banner artwork and the achievement artwork, as well as the code contributors and the writing contributors. You are all amazing. Our final Quidditch match has just ended, and we get our final achievement called Free Ticket to the Quidditch World Cup achievement for winning the Quidditch Cup for Gryffindor. And that was it for today. Those were all 61 achievements for Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, it would mean so much to me, and let me know in the comments which game you would love to see me play next. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.